What you think is the worst time of your life is actually just the starting point, and you have all the power to change your life from there. Hola, amigos, and welcome to the first episode of my podcast, One More Mile. I am Paula, and I'm your host. I am so excited, and I'm also nervous because I'm not used to this format. I'm used to every social media ever, but I'm not used to podcasts. I'm not used to not having to cut every single thing that I said. But I figure we're just gonna learn and we're just gonna do it because if I don't do it now, I'm not gonna do it never. So, yeah. In this episode, I figure I will talk about failure and how I think success means going from failure after failure with the same excitement about chasing your goals and making your dreams come true, or just excitement about life. And I feel like I've had a lot of worst moments in my life. And if you're watching the YouTube video of the podcast, I'm doing like the things with my fingers in the air, haciendo comillas, pues. I don't know how to say it in English. But I definitely had quite a few worst moments that I thought I was like done. I'm done. I'm not gonna recover from this. How is my life gonna keep moving after that? And the reality is that those moments were the turning point of something even bigger and better that I could have never, ever imagined. So, hopefully, this is a little bit of inspiration for you as well. And if you're going through hard times, especially in this holiday season, please, this is momentary and this is your turning point. Right now, you are about to blossom into a beautiful, beautiful butterfly. So, just hang in there, okay? Okay, I feel like the first worst moment that I had in my life was when I was in college. I was living in Ecuador. I was like 20, I was 20, 19, 20. And I've always been the one that has the best grades in school. I was what you can say a valedictorian when I was back in Ecuador. And my parents put me in a nice college. They were paying for everything. I had a scholarship as well. And I was loving my career. I was studying communication. Everything was fine. I had good friends. And I was in my second year. And one day, out of nowhere, my mom comes and she's like, "Oh, your dad wants me to tell you that you're not going to be able to study next semester." I almost died. Like, I cried. I was like, why? Why is this happening to me? It was, um, it was shocking. Mostly because my parents, they always give me and my brother everything we ever wanted to, and they never made it seem that we were struggling with money. But towards the end, when you're an adult and you see things, you kind of know that your parents and your family is struggling with money. So of course they couldn't afford an expensive college, and I wasn't in the most expensive college in Ecuador, but it was quite expensive for what my dad was making. He was the only one that was working in the household. So it was hard. And I took it as like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to go to school, and I love school and I love my friends, and what am I gonna do if I don't graduate in the next 4 years? I don't wanna have to go another year. It was just a whole thing. So that was like my first turning point where my parents broke the bubble that they had for me, because if you have good parents, you know that they put you in a bubble. They put you in this bubble of protection and trying to keep you safe. That at one moment that bubble explodes, or they are the ones to pinch it. So they did it, and then I was alone in the world. I mean, I was still living with them, but I had to go on the journey of getting my first job and going on interviews. And I'm saying like my first server job, or like my first job without a college degree in Ecuador. If that is hard in the States, you can even imagine how hard it is to get any job in Ecuador. It's very hard, my friends, very hard. But I feel like with this first starting point, what I mean changing your life is just getting out of your comfort zone. If I never had that uncomfortable moment with my parents of like, oh, you're not gonna be able to go to school anymore, I would have never go out of my way to find a job because I was comfortable. and I was 19. Like, it was time for me to get a job. It is not very common in Ecuador to get jobs when you're that age. In the States, it's very common. You see people working at 16, part time jobs, but in Ecuador, it was not normal. So for me, it was getting out of my bubble and meeting adults and making money. And anything that gets you out of your comfort zone is a good thing. Even if you think it's bad, even if you're crying, even if it sucks, because it's gonna suck. Everything that gets you out of your comfort zone is a blessing. I feel like with this, like the biggest worst moment that I had in my life that was truly a blessing now that I look backwards was the whole COVID thing and the pandemic. And I don't want to put it just in the air that I was the only one suffering, because I think that there was millions. I don't think, I know that there was millions and millions of people who suffered the loss of a friend, of a parent, grandparent, of a relative, of a friendship, of anyone. And I was fortunately enough that I didn't lose anyone due to COVID. My dad got very sick and I almost lost my dad, but thank God I didn't. But I think that was the breaking point of my life, and I truly see a before and after COVID, a before and after pandemic in my life, and it's such a huge difference. And I think a lot of people here in New York, they're just like, oh yeah, before COVID, this was this, and after COVID, blah, blah, blah. But my life, it changed 180 degrees. Before COVID, I was in Ecuador, I was single, I was living with my parents. After COVID, I'm in New York, like immediately after COVID, I'm in New York. I am married to my husband, and I mean, I still have my parents here, but like, it's a whole change. So when COVID hits and we're in Ecuador, my dad got very, very sick. We had no money. We had no money. We were barely affording groceries. We were barely affording rent. We didn't even afford rent. Like, we were so in debt. My whole family was so in debt. Of course, I wasn't studying. I lost the job that I had, and it was just uncomfortable. It was just bad, and it was just this feeling of life sucks. Like, I almost lost my dad. I also got very sick. My family was sick. Everything was bad. Everything was going bad. And when things became a little bit normal, my uncle, he has like he works at a mall. He owns a store in a mall, a clothing store, and he gave me a job. And I have said this to his face, but my uncle was the worst boss that I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of bosses that are the worst thing ever, but my uncle was tough. And I love my uncle as an uncle, but as a boss, no, no, no. And he taught me how to, he built my character. He prepared me for what New York was going to be for me before I even knew. And now I'm grateful for that. But it was just, yeah, getting out of the comfort zone. I was working 14 hours every day, 6 days a week, and making minimum wage in Ecuador, which was $400. And that was the moment when in my mind entered like, oh, I could be in the States, and even if I make minimum wage in New York, I'm gonna be making more than what I make here. And I know that rent and everything is gonna be more expensive, but at least my hour of work is gonna be $15 an hour, and it's not gonna be like 32 cents like in here, which sounded crazy in my mind. So after a few months of working with my uncle, I quit because I couldn't do it no more, and I started my own like little business. I was selling hoodies, printed hoodies with like, let's say it was Valentine's Day and you wanted to do your boyfriend, like your name and his name, like matching hoodies, or like with TV shows or movies, stuff like that. So I was working on that with my brother. He will design the hoodies and I wouldn't do the printing, but I will take the hoodie somewhere to get the printing, shipping, social media, clients. I will do everything and my brother will design, and we were like a partnership and we were making money out of that. So I feel like having all this pressure of working with my uncle and then quitting was also the moment that taught me how to run a business. And even though I only had it for like 4 months, that business paid the rent, paid the bills, gave me groceries. I could afford my nails. I was going out with friends. that little business showed me how to run a business. That little business showed me how to treat customers, how to do marketing on social media, how to go and talk to suppliers, how shipping works. It taught me a lot of things that even though I don't have a business right now, in the future, if I do have a business of my own, I'm gonna know all those things because I already did my trial and error with this business. So every single thing that you do and every single thing that you think is bad in your life, take it as a blessing and take it as a learning experience. Take it as a, how is this thing gonna teach me? How is this thing gonna help me build my character? And how is this thing gonna provide me solutions in the future? Because it will. Most likely it will. And if it doesn't, at least you have a good story to tell people about it. After that, it was this transition point where I tell you guys that, okay, it was time to move to New York. I can make a whole another episode on why it was a decision New York, even though I had no one here. I have no we have no family here. You know how families have like families in the state, like relatives, and then you go visit them. We have no family. We are now the relatives that people come and visit because we have no family in the states. So but New York was my dream, and I came here at 21 years old. I'm 25 now, which is crazy. I came here at 21 with a 21 kilograms uh, luggage full of dreams and clothes, and life has been great ever since. Because what I thought was the downfall of my life, for me, having to drop out of college without me wanting to was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I think I still have like a little bit of a pinch feeling in my heart because for me education is so important, and I miss going to a classroom, and I miss my friends, and I miss learning so much that when I had to do it, to do all this physical labor and coming to another country, well, yeah, I was in the city of my dreams, but I was also working in jobs that I didn't like. I worked as a server for the longest time ever. And I'm not saying anything wrong about servers, okay? I love servers. You make great money and fast and quick. And honestly, it's a great job. It's a respectable job. It just didn't fulfill me. And I did that for like 2.5 years that I was here until I got my green card and I was able to work in the things that I like. So I did that for the longest time ever. And it's just the breaking point. The COVID breaking point, being in my little room in Ecuador, and I was heartbroken as well. There was this guy that broke my heart, and I was like, I'm never falling in love again. And then coming to New York, and fast forward 3 years, fast forward, I have my green card. I'm able to work as a makeup artist for a brand that I love, and I live in the city that I always dreamed of. And I saw these movies and TV shows about New York and the YouTubers living in New York, and I was fascinated with that. And I live in the city, and I am married to an awesome man that is the love of my life. And when I thought that guys couldn't be nice to women because of all my past experiences, so but you can change your life. You have the power and you have the possibility to take all the adversity and make it something useful. But that's only on you. Only you have the power to do that. It's not like it came granted, like, yeah, here, you have a job as a makeup artist. Here, you have a job as this. No. I work hard. I broke my back, literally broke my back working as a server to save $6,000 and to go to makeup school and educate myself in the best way that I could because I didn't have a social at the moment, so I wasn't able to go to proper college and like continue my communication studies that I was having in Ecuador. I might do it next year. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I did the education on something that I was passionate about, which was makeup, and I'm working in something that I love. And maybe next year I would like to go and study law, or I would like to go and study marketing because I am unpredictable, but I love education and I truly believe in that. But nothing is granted. I'm just saying that what you think is your downfall and what you think is like, oh, I just lost my entire life because I thought I needed to go to high school, go to college, graduate, get a good job, get married, get two kids, have two kids, and get a house, a car, and then die. And if something falls off the plan and then you don't do things lineal, then you think you fail. But failure is just another way to get to success. And success can look very different, and life can look very different for all of us. So, what you think is the worst moment of your life is just the starting point. It's just gonna get better and it's just gonna get interesting. I promise. The last thing or the last time that I thought I was like at the worst day, in the worst moment of my life was, I think it was like a year and a half ago. I was living with my parents. I was dating my husband. He was my boyfriend at the time. His name is Dulo, by the way. You're gonna be hearing his name a lot in this podcast. But I was dating Dulo. I was living with my parents. I was working as a server, and I was drinking a lot. I'm also gonna do an episode on my sobriety journey because I feel like that is needed. But I had a very serious back and leg injury. If you guys know what sciatica is or sciatica pain, or if you ever had it, I'm really sorry. I really wish you don't recognize that pain. If you don't know what that is, you're truly blessed because that is the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. So I got injured. I've always suffered with the sciatica thing, but this time was really, really bad. And usually for me, what it healed the sciatica was like just hot bath or like maybe an injection and like a little bit of icy hot, and then I was good in like a week. But this pain stayed with me for like months and months and months. And it was bad to the point where only walking will heal me. Not even if I was sleeping, if I was sitting down. I couldn't even tie my own shoes. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. I was like, I needed my mom and my dad to dress me up to do the things for me because I wasn't able to do it. I thought I was gonna die. Or maybe I think I wanted to. I woke up every day in pain. I was crying until 3 a.m. I couldn't even sleep. Dula was like, what is going on? We tried everything. We went to every doctor. We went to the emergency room. I tried acupuncture. I tried every single thing, every single little thing, and nothing was working. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to live like this. This is not living. If this like this pain is just insufferable, I just can't. Then we got to a doctor, and he just looked at me, and he's like, "You're overweight. You need to lose weight. If you don't lose all this weight, the sciatic nerve is gonna get is pinching. The weight is pinching the nerve. If you don't lose it, you're not gonna get better. I can reassure that." I'm like, what? Okay, I lost all the weight. That was the starting point. That was the worst moment of my life, and then I had the power to change everything. So I started eating very clean, very healthy. I started walking every day. I didn't go to the gym because I was injured. I didn't do running. I didn't do anything. Walking every day for 40 minutes. And the pain, after months losing the weight, it went away. And I lost weight. All my life, I've been obsessed with being skinny. That's another topic for another episode. But I lost weight and I felt the most confident than I've ever been. I went from like 160 something pounds to like 140 something, or 136, I believe, was the smallest that I've been. I'm not that right now. I'm at like 150 right now. I gained like 10 more pounds, but that's another story. But it felt great. It felt great putting the clothes that I always wanted, and then owning my sobriety, and then changing my life for the better. And then I fell in love with running. I started running, and then I started a run club with my best friend Walter, and I met all these amazing people through the running community. And I'm running 2 marathons next year, which everything just falls into the category of everything falls into place if you change your life once the moment comes. The worst moment of my life, all of these worst moments that I've had, have shown me that I have the power to change it. I have the power to hop on a plane and move to another city. and start my life all over again. I have the power to stop eating crap, start eating healthy, lose all the weight, and feel confident AF. I have the power to save the money and go study whatever I want. I have the power. You have the power. I think I'm gonna keep it short for the first episode, but what I mean with all of this is if you're feeling bad, if you're going through a hard time, I don't want to tell you that it's gonna be okay, because for a period of time, it could be a week, it could be a day, it could be a month, it could be a year, it's gonna suck and it's gonna hurt and it's gonna be hard and it's gonna be very tough. And you're gonna feel like, oh God, why is this happening to me? Oh, life, universe, in whatever that you believe, you're gonna be asking those questions. Why is this happening to me? Why me? Why? 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 What is the reason, right? You have the power to take that experience into a learning experience, and you have the power to change your life. And if you don't think you can, just look at the 21-year-old Paula living in Ecuador, sick with COVID, quitting her only job and only source of income, and then dropping out of college. And if she will look at me now, she will be amazed. She will be like, you made it. And yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I will continue to have very, very, very hard days in my life. But I'm just excited to see how failure after failure, I'm going to keep trying to get to success, because that is what life is about. Taking every failure into consideration to success without losing the excitement of living life. I think it was a very tough talk. I don't know. I hope it wakes up something in you that you thought you didn't have, that you thought you needed. Well, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I'm just gonna go and leave. I will see you next week. Well, you will see me. You will hear me next week. Thank you for listening. Bye. Hope you have a Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Bye.